Hello aspirants, welcome back to Key Concepts to Anthropology series. So friends, myself Dr. Suresh Kuramkunda and I welcome you all to the session on behalf of SRIRAM's IAS. So friends, as a part of our Key Concepts to Anthropology series, in today's discussion, let us try to understand about the significant contributions of E.B. Tylor to the realm of anthropology. So friends, this is another important topic which every anthropology aspirant must know. So let's learn it in a systematic fashion. So friends, let's begin the discussion without any delay. So first, if you look from the perspective of the basic introduction, that is, who is E.B. Tylor? So E.B. Tylor is nothing but Edward Bernard Tylor. So Edward Bernard Tylor is a British anthropologist and he is a unilinear evolutionist. So that means like he proposed the unilinear evolution of culture. So that's one important aspect. Then he was a pioneer of the classical evolutionary school of thought. So in anthropology, we have different schools of thought. So one among it is nothing but the classical evolutionism. So E.B. Tylor belongs to classical evolutionism school of thought. So that's one thing you have to remember. So then let us proceed further and let's know some of the important famous literary works that have been published by E.B. Tylor. So in the picture also you can just see. So one important work is the primitive culture and other important culture is the Enoch, and the next important culture is the anthropology, the book. So these are nothing but some of the important famous literary works of E.B. Tylor. So let's learn them in a systematic fashion again. So there, if you see from the perspective of the literary works, so first one is nothing but in the year 1861, so E.B. Tylor has written a systematic record on the Enoch, so which deals with the Mexicans and Mexican cultural aspects. So Enoch or Mexico and the Mexicans, the ancient and modern. So this was the book that was written by E.B. Tylor. Then primitive culture in 1871. This is another important literary work. Then in 1881, so he has written a book named Anthropology, so which deals with an introduction to the man and civilization. So this is another important significant work. Then in the year 1865, he has written one another literary work, that is Researches into Early History of Mankind and the Development of Civilization. So these are all some of the famous literary works. So friends, he was also the pioneer anthropologist who has systematically defined the culture and worked vigorously on the culture. So his all contributions with respect to the culture and other aspects. So E.B. Tylor is famously regarded as the father of cultural anthropology and he is also regarded as the father of comparative ethnology. So that's one thing you have to remember. Is that it clear for you? Now friends, let's proceed further and let's try to understand what are the significant contributions of E.B. Tylor. So if you see from the perspective of anthropology, particularly socio-cultural anthropology, so E.B. Tylor is well credited with some of the important contributions. So first and foremost thing, what we can say, so he is regarded as the founder of cultural anthropology. So that's very important contribution. Then he has given a systematic and comprehensive and the anthropological definition to the culture. So this is another important contribution. Then if you see, so he gave a systematic evolutionary theory of classification where he put forwarded that culture evolves in a unilinear fashion in a single sequence, stage after stage, like from savagery through barbarism to civilization. So that's one another important thing. Then he has also credited for introducing something that is known as the doctrine of survivals. So what do you mean by doctrine of survivals? Those customs, those traditions, those habits which we continue to carry forward over the generations by force, even though they have lost their utility. So such kind of aspects are known as survivals, cultural survivals. So let's say for example, when you sneeze, immediately you will say God bless you. Can you able to recollect that? So what is that? So actually when we utter the word God bless you, so it has no relevance and utility, but still we utter. Why? That's known as it's a cultural survival. So it has lost its relevance and utility, but still we are just using it. So such kind of things are known as cultural survivals. So then he was also credited with the introducing animism as the origin of religion. So he called animism as the primitive form of religion. You can also see in the slide. So animism means nothing but it's a practice of belief in the souls and spirits. So that's one thing. So he called animism as the primitive form of religion. So they were all nothing but some of the significant contributions of E.B. Tylor. So apart from this, if you see, he systematically developed the concept of culture and defined the word culture. So how did we define culture? See, he said, and he defined culture in a comprehensive way, in an anthropological way, and in a most logical way. So what did he say? Means culture is nothing but that complex whole which consists of knowledge, belief, art, morals, laws, customs, and any other capabilities and habits acquired by man as a member of society. So this is what he called as culture. So that means he said it like man as a member of society acquires a lot of knowledge, lot of arts, morals, laws, customs, traditions, all of them constitute culture. So that's what he said as culture. So that is the contribution of E.B. Tylor, right? Then if you see, he also introduced statistical method in anthropology. So particularly he worked and introduced something that is known as comparative method or historical reconstruction of the past cultures. So he tried to just reconstruct the past cultures with the help of the available contemporary primitive cultures. So that method is known as the historical method. So you have to remember this also. Then he also introduced an experimental archaeology to the field of anthropology. So experimental archaeology is nothing but one of the important sub-school or sub-field of archaeological anthropology. So he credited with this also. So they were all nothing but some of the significant contributions of E.B. Tylor. So for all these significant contributions, so he was credited with the epithets that he is known as the father of cultural anthropology and he is known as the father of comparative ethnology. So that's one thing you must and should remember. So this is one thing. Then let us move further and let us try to understand what about the evolutionary sequence of the stages given by E.B. Tylor. So first, every society will start with savagery. So the savagery stage would be basically characterized by some of the characteristics like hunting and gathering nature of the subsistence, where we will hunt and gather the fruits and nuts and we will survive. So that was one thing. Then the savagery stage is also characterized by animism form of religion. So the belief system will be in and around the animism. Then they will move on to barbarism state. So in the barbarism state, like we will systematically start domestication of animals. When we domesticate animals, so in order to use them systematically, we will try to begin the agriculture and horticulture and pastoralism kind of activities. And in barbarism state, we also follow the religion. We also follow the polytheism. So that's another characteristic of barbarism. Then from there, the cultures will move towards civilization, where a developed script would be there, and we will start getting into the advanced stages of life. So this is what the evolutionary scheme of culture that has been propagated and postulated by E.B. Tylor. So if you see, this sequence is in a single unilinear direction. So moves always from savagery through barbarism to civilization. So that's what is known as the unilinear evolutionary scheme of culture, right? So why did this happen? So what did another aspect that he told? He told that everywhere culture develops or evolves in this fashion only, because man everywhere thinks in a similar fashion. That means he postulated one premise that psychic unity of mankind. So everywhere human mind thinks in a similar fashion under similar environmental conditions. So that he believed. So we have to remember that. So this is what with respect to the evolutionary scheme of culture proposed by E.B. Tylor. Now friends, let us try to know about some of the important criticism of the E.B. Tylor's works. So first, if we see from the perspective of the criticism, so the first criticism is that, so his unilinear evolution. So he said about unilinear evolution of culture. So this unilinear evolution of culture, it's a questionable aspect. That means some of these scholars, like belonging to the diffusionary school of thought, they argued that the culture evolves in different phases. So to address this, we have got another aspect, that is like multilinear evolutionism. Multilinear evolutionism. This we have got it as another school. So next important criticism was that it was with respect to the method that he adapted. He adapted historic method or the comparative method. The comparative method was a kind of crude method. So this was another important criticism, right? Then he believed on something that is known as this psychic unity of mankind. Do you remember? Psychic unity of mankind. So this assumption of the psychic unity of mankind, that man everywhere thinks in a certain similar fashion, is a doubtful assumption. It's a doubtful assumption. So we should remember this, because we cannot empirically prove and we cannot empirically explain it in a systematic fashion. Then next thing is that E.B. Tylor was an armchair anthropologist. So what do you mean by armchair anthropologist? So armchair anthropologist means he has systematically developed all his contributions by sitting in his office or in his home. So he never had a good fieldwork experience. Only he had 21 days of fieldwork experience. 21 days of fieldwork experience. So this was another important criticism. So they were all nothing but some of the important and significant criticisms with respect to the works of E.B. Tylor. So with all this, so let us try to recap what we have studied. So first we try to learn about some of the basic aspects about E.B. Tylor. Then we moved on to understand some of the famous literary works of the E.B. Tylor. Then we try to understand significant contributions of E.B. Tylor to anthropology. Then we understood some of the important criticism related to his works. So that's all for today that I wanted to share with you. So friends, in today we learned about E.B. Tylor. So in next discussion, let us try to meet with another important topic. So till then, try to revise all the important concepts. So keep following the Key Concepts to Anthropology series if you like, and if you like the videos, then keep sharing it with all your friends also. So it's me, your Dr. Suresh Guramkunda, so your guide, mentor and faculty of anthropology. So signing off. Thank you all of you for watching the discussion and video. Thank you all.